Oh, welcome back, my gardening friends, to the end of October tour. See what we've done, what's been going on. It's very damp and dreary, this spitty spotting, but other than that, we can't complain. The blackberries need a good cut back just after Christmas. We'll tidy all that up, get rid of the old and leave the new. The last few raspberries have been ruined by the weather over the last 3 weeks really, and it's increasingly difficult to get in there, but we'll let these die back naturally, and again these will be sorted out between Christmas and New Year. The dahlias are still giving a reasonable show considering they've been completely battered. They're grown in the Vegega raised beds, and as you can see there, the blackbirds, wildlife, are pecking away looking for the worms. This video was filmed after my no dig video for November 3rd. We found some scaffold planks and we're going to reuse those on the square foot gardening. We'll reuse these as well that we've taken from where we grew the condors, and it won't be long before we can clear this. Now most of the rhubarb has died back. We shouldn't really pick rhubarb after the end of July to give it a chance to boost those crowns to get them through the winter. Then we just need to add a few nutrients to keep them going. Ready for next year. There's some summer fruit in here. I've took the tops out, so that will encourage some side growth instead of just complete long and then you end up not being able to walk around and harvest them. As you can see, the old wood was taken out and we leave the wood which will hopefully produce fruit next year. It's different to the autumn fruiting where we cut them down. The new growth this year will be cut down this year, where summer fruiting you harvest on the second year's growth. It's just getting it right and you'll get a nice harvest. I'll give them my manure a little bit more protection from the elements. I did previously say that I had all that polycarbonate that I put down on the recycled area on our allotment. It all disappeared, and maybe I could have done something here, but we just sometimes can't see forward. And again, because I don't visit the plot too often, and when I do I hit it for an hour, and some of these have now gone over, but that came later. The old ones are just there, look, so they've done okay, excuse me. The green manure, this was a second sowing on plot 3. We can see how the green manure is doing there. The white clover is more of a summer green manure, where you would in spring sow it to give the beds a rest, to give it a bit of a boost. These are ideal, the side shoots, florets. We can harvest those. The cabbages are going a bit manky, but there's certainly lots of life there, and the pups, when they grow like that, are also ideal. We'll show those at the end once I've tidied them up. The Andermatt netting, we've got a little bit of damage which was self-inflicted on some cable ties. I now use some this plastic which you can split, then put over the top. That saves putting the cable ties on. But just check it out in the description below. They say it will last 3 years. Well, we're on our 2nd year and it still in one piece, which gives the plants that we grow some nice protection. Just need some extra clips to hold the corners up. We've had a little nice tidy up around the wildflower area. We cut all the plants back, we'll pull them out, and there all the seeds that have dropped down and are now growing ready for the following season. But this area here did extend all the way down to where the blue barrels are, and it was very difficult to manage to keep it reasonably tidy. But now this only took me about 20 minutes to get tidied up. This is where I dump all the stuff that we find that people put out or in skips. It gives the overwintering wildlife somewhere to come. All my barrels are now full. We've had so much rain. Whoops, a daisy. Looks like that's dropped out. Let's do it now before it collapses. That's better. I'll need to seal that up, but as you can see, collecting the water off the greenhouse like this. It's one of my popular videos. If you search Google, how to save water from a greenhouse or attaching guttering to a greenhouse, you may find my video. Even though I did tidy up the strawberries earlier on, they do look a lot better than the strawberries that have been neglected. But there'll be plenty of time over those winter months to get them tidy and find somewhere to put these. Oh dear. You leave them without water and they dry out. You leave them in a tray and they get drowned. I need to harvest some more of the giant moulays. This weather's not helping me at all. And we'll be getting the final crops out of the greenhouse. We've got the gravity fed wick guttering system here. Don't really have to touch this, and over the summer we probably use 400 litres. That's 2 of those containers, and it's already filling up with just the water that we've had by the rainwater. You can see the outlet there at the middle of the screen, and there's all the soil in the bottom, but these odd bits of debris do get in, so when I do top it up, I switch the valve off for a couple of days and then pop it back on. But I do have to maintain the float valve before we start in spring. This pile of soil is getting bigger and bigger, and I'm so pleased that I covered it up. I've still got this area here to finish off. Then I can put 3 more barrels there, and then I've got some barrels up by the polytunnel that I've now emptied. They can go on top of those barrels, and then I can irrigate these beds here, ready for my giant celery. They are all new beds. They haven't had anything in or growing, so we'll just let them settle down over the winter. They've had layers of manure ready for the giant vegetables, and this Vegega raised bed was where we got a 5th place for the giant moulay radish, so I was very happy with that. The wood chips in the paths do take a bit of a battering. It won't be long before I ask the tree contractor if he can bring us some more. get these topped up, and it'll make it a lot easier for walking on, and that will protect the worms while they're breaking down the wood chips. We'll be planting those strawberries in here. We've still got some volunteers that were growing down the side. We'll sort those out, and I'm not sure what I'll be growing in here. I won't be growing cabbages next year, only for eating. I'll use this netted cage for something else. I normally come with a wheelbarrow full of stuff, and I normally go home with a wheelbarrow full of stuff. As we move on to plot 3, I've got a few more reviews coming up, so please, if they're not really interested for yourselves, but just give them a thumbs up, just helps me. You may think that some of the reviews I do maybe aren't exactly what I need, but once I've finished the review, they do make good raffle prizes. So a thumbs up will always be appreciated on those videos, even if you don't stay for too long. I bought some Hyecho compost from Home Bargains here in the UK. Wanted it quite cheap, a lot cheaper than normal. So I want to see how that does. Well, I'll either mulch these or I'll dig them out and put them in pots. They don't do brilliantly well in the cage. In my no dig video, this was full. I've emptied some of it out now, put on the other beds, because we're going to be raising these up with some of the scaffolding planks, and this bed will be for the Jerusalem artichokes. So another permanent bed similar to the asparagus, and as you can see, look at that. And it'll be interesting to see what the underground worm farms have produced. And if you don't know what underground worms farms are, just Google it and my video will be there. We revealed some of the Jerusalem artichokes previously this month. There'll be an October playlist for you to have a look at. As you can see, the white clover is growing, but not as well. It did well in those couple of weeks in the warm weather. But if it gives me a bit of a cover crop while the temporary compost bins are doing their job, then I won't be too bothered. We covered the carrots up this month. As you can see how much water we've been getting. And I think it's staying very dry under there, and the carrots are trying to grow again. But let's see how long we can keep them through February, March and maybe April. But they may still rot, but now I can't say that I haven't given them as much protection as they need. Look at the claret sprouting broccoli, and that's all because I think, like Jason told me, whatever I grow in there will grow well. This is where the temporary compost bins were, and it topped that bed up lovely. Won't be long before I'm taking the tops out on my sprouts, because if they start showing signs of blowing, we need to take the tops out. And not going to waste that. We'll stick that down with a harvest if there's anything any good in it. So it's basically just a large Brussels sprout on the top. But hopefully I'll take a bit more leaves off that. That'll encourage some of the ones right at the top to push out, and hopefully it'll stop the ones blowing at the bottom. We've had that much rain. I may be a little bit too late for those, so I may harvest some of those again. It's the Red Bull. Wasn't overly keen on last year. We didn't get a lot, but I've had some seed left, so didn't want to waste it. And I'm continually harvesting some of this Green Magic broccoli. We've cut the main stem off, and then you get the side shoots. Just had to pop over to a plot holder and warn them of the bonfire rules. Just lost my train of thought there. So there's the curly kale, some of the peppers that I saved from work pepper that come in a veggie box. And even though these cauliflowers were decimated by caterpillars, they seem to be growing well. This was a chance that I was going to take with some cauliflowers. I don't normally grow cauliflowers very well, but if you don't try, you don't know. And that's the last of the lettuce, if I can salvage anything from that today. And the odd weed. I've just had to level that out. Looks like the pheasants have been dust bathing or wet bathing, whatever you want to say. But I planted some more elephant garlic because I did plant my elephant garlic early and then planted the silver skin onions on top. But if I have done that too early, I'm not going to be without some garlic. I've harvested the last of the beans that we've left to seed, which are looking a little bit wet and damp. Some of them have dried out, but I need to get those home now on top of the combi boiler to finish off before they start sprouting again. And a little experiment, people do say that beans will grow on the second year, so we'll be cutting them off, putting some manure down, clearing all the canes, leaving the labels in, and then covering them up for the winter. I think the allium leaf miner might have got at the walking onion, so I'm not going to touch them. Nature will always find a way. Normally 24 parsnips does us for the winter, but with the weather that we've had this time, they aren't the best. Now, I'm normally quite good at growing parsnips, so in the future I'm going to edge my bets, because we don't want to run out of parsnips. I'll have both these beds up and running, and it won't be long before we're rejuvenating the manure layer right down there with some liquid manure, ready for planting in spring. So I've drained some of these tanks off. It's a shame to let the water go, but everywhere's full. So these are the ones that will be being moved over to plot 1 to sit on top of the other barrels to help with the irrigation. I probably now need to get these potatoes inside. We'll salvage the comfrey. I need to top this bed up with manure and cover it with cardboard, and there's the green manure, which is growing a lot better, especially it might be because of the shade. And then what we'll do, we'll chop and drop and then top these beds up. This bed I do my sifting to top the beds up. As you can see, weeds love this weather. And the greenfield beans look really nice and healthy, near enough 100% germination now, where 1 or 2 didn't come up straight away. The elephant garlic is now up. Some of the red Russian is now up. I'm not sure whether it'd be a bit too early. And then we've got the winter tares. And here's all my other potatoes. Probably got far too many potatoes for us, but you can always give them away to family and friends. You seem to get lots of friends when you give vegetables away. And these, which are gravity, these have got the wicks in, which drop into the barrels and work really well for the carrots. I gave us carrots all summer long. So the water storage was there, but you may as well make use of the area on top of it, and this worked really well. Bought the condor seeds in, seed potatoes, and I do need to get in here and have a tidy up, but time is precious. I've got a few hours this morning before I go home to carry on with the garden makeover. Here are some of the condors under the sheet. I harvest when I want. I've covered it with the pond liner just so to keep the light out, and I've skimmed the top mulching layer off that area, ready to add a layer of manure and a little bit of cardboard. And will I get the double skin in this year? I don't know. but I will try. And while the tomatoes keep coming, I'll leave them there. But as Ali would say from the my rusty garden, gardening is an exercise for the mind, body and soul. Harvesting is a bonus you cannot simply measure in weight. Thumbs up, thumbs down for the interaction. Check out Ali's channel, My Rusty Garden. I'll put the @ in the title, and you can press that and it'll take you straight to her channel. And why not consider subscribing. Happy gardening to you all. Till next time, my friends. Ta-ra for now.